Hello everyone, hello everybody, hello, welcome welcome back to my YouTube channel, guys. My name is Lesoro Mataba for those of you guys who don't know me, and I am currently a 5th year medical student at Wits. I'm studying to becoming a doctor in South Africa, and yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me on my journey to becoming Dr. Matabo. Now today what we're going to be talking about is basically how to study effectively in varsity. I've been getting a lot of DMs, a lot of messages on my WhatsApp basically asking me, how do I study? Like, how do I make sure that I do well in my exams, my tests, and things like that? And just overall, how do I sort of grasp the information that I'm currently learning? And yeah, so I figured, you know what, let me make a video on that so that everybody who has the same question or whoever's wondering about the same thing has access to this video and has access to my tips and advice for how you can actually study effectively and do well in whatever year of study that you are in varsity or even in high school. I feel like these tips will be very helpful. So before we get into today's video, I need you to just click the subscribe button if you have not subscribed. Like this video. If you're a returning subscriber, let me know in the comment section below. Notification gang, squad, gang, let me know. If you're a newbie on my channel or if you're just passing by, let me know also in the comment section below so we can welcome you properly. And yeah, hope to see you yet again in one of my videos. The first thing that we want to talk about is knowing your learning style or learning technique that works for you. So by that, what I mean, for me, for example, I'm an audiovisual learner. What that means is that I learn best from hearing stuff. From when somebody explains something to me, I learn best from that. I learn best from watching stuff, so videos, podcasts. That's how I learn best. And also for me, study groups tend to help a lot, because when somebody sits down and explains something to me and I hear them explaining that thing, I'm better able to grasp that information as compared to when I just sit down and read. So I'm a very audiovisual learner. I use a lot of videos, I use a lot of diagrams. So when I summarize my information, I summarize in diagrams and mind maps and drawings. That's how I learn best. I don't necessarily summarize in like paragraphs and stuff like that. I need to make mind maps and colorful sort of things. So I'm a very visual person and I'm an audio person. So even when I study, I tend to say the stuff out loud because I need to hear it, you know. So that's that's the first thing. My study technique, I'm an audiovisual learner. So yeah, figure out which one you are. So you can go online or like just research and find out which one you are. There are many different types, so that when you know which learning style works for you, you know how to alter or change your, like, how you study, how you receive information, how you sort of like prepare yourself for exams and tests, because you know how you get information best, or which way works best for you. So guys, I have found for me personally that it's very important for me to engage with my content at least 4 times, and I'll talk about how I engage with my content 4 times. So for example, the first time that I will engage with the content is when I go to the lecture, like attend the lecture that on the specific topic, right? When I'm there, I have to pay attention. So you have to pay attention in class. You have to pay attention to the things that the lecturers are emphasizing, or the things that are spending a lot of time on, because those are the things that you know that they probably want you guys to be able to know, right? So I pay attention in the class. That's the first time. Go to the lecture, attend the lecture, or watch that lecture. Pay attention, make your notes in, and as you're in that lecture, right, make your notes. If they're spending too much time on something, explaining something over and over again, make a star on that thing. If there's something that you don't understand from that lecture, also highlight that thing, right? So that from the first time you really know, after engaging the first time, you know what you understand from that lecture, what you don't understand in that lecture, right? So that sort of helps me in my studying, because I know that when it comes to studying, like afterwards, I know that, okay, this part I understand, but this part I don't understand. So it's much easier for me to now, even when I'm asking for help, know that this is a section that I don't understand and this is what I need to work on, as compared to things that I understand. And that's because I've been to the lecture, I've seen what they emphasize on, and I've seen what I understood and what I didn't understand. And now when I go again the second time, that's when I come back. So after that lecture, I come back and I sit and I look at the information yet again, trying to take in the information, seeing what I understood, what I didn't understand, and making like any sort of like notes on the side to say that, okay, these are extra information that I need to know. That's the second time. The third time is when I'm making my notes, so my mind maps, my diagrams, things like that. I tend to do those things. So when I do that, that's the third time that you're engaging with the information. And the fourth time is when, again, I'm just revising the information yet again. So engaging with the information 4 times allows you to sort of encode that sort of information into your long-term memory, right? So there's this sort of phenomena or whatever that I remember I learned in physiology. I mean, I might not be able to explain it extensively, but there's something called long-term potentiation. What basically that is that as you encode information, the more times that's encoded in your brain, it moves from short-term memory back to becoming long-term memory. So if you engage with something only once, chances are it won't stick as much as if you engage with that thing or the concept over and over and over again, and now it becomes stored as part of your long-term memory. When you are engaging with the information, make sure that you're engaging and you're studying with understanding, because you don't want to store something that you don't understand. So make sure that you understand what you're studying over the different times when you're doing that specific thing, right? So I would highly encourage watching videos or looking up summaries before you engage with the content, like heavily so, right? One thing I've learned in my years in varsity, or rather in medicine and in biomedical science, is that it's very important to study smart, right? So you might be taught something that is very, very dense, and then people who have made nice summaries on those stuff, or there are videos that can explain that concept that took 45 minutes in class in 4 minutes. So now if you look up resources that can help you understand that information in a shorter period of time, that saves you a lot of time, and then you can engage in the work again, or you can have time to do other things as well. So watch videos or look up summaries, and those things will help you understand the concepts in a shorter space of time, and also give you a sort of visual representation of what the topic that you're studying is all about, right? So I loved watching videos. So watch videos or look up summaries. The reason I loved those things is that it helped me cut down the number of hours that I spend studying, right? So if I can watch a video that's going to explain a concept to me in 5 minutes, that has saved me 2 hours worth of studying, because now when I'm reading the lecture slides, I'm reading a textbook, I already understand that concept. Now I'm just adding on extra bits of information, as compared to going to the textbook with no understanding and then now going, you know what I mean? So for me, in order to save myself a lot of time, I'd watch videos on the topics, make sure that I get them, and then when I go engage with my information again, I get the gist, I get the full picture before I read the stuff again. I don't know if that makes sense, but that helped me a lot, and it saved me a lot of time in varsity, especially in second year. Like actually all my other years, it saved me a lot of time, and I was able to cover a lot more work because I spent less time studying a specific topic. Tip number 4: make notes of only the high yield information, right? So for me, the reason I sometimes make summaries is because I don't like reading pages upon pages upon pages upon pages explaining one thing. It's very discouraging for me if I have to read a lot of pages just to explain one thing. So what I tend to do is that after I've gone through those pages or the lecture slides, I'll make a summary, a very concise summary of the high yield information. So the things that are very, very important to take away from what I've just read, right? So now I make information of the core knowledge that I have to know from a specific topic. So say, for example, I'm learning about TB, for example. I need to know the high yield information. What causes TB? How will the patient present? Things like that. The core information is what I'm going to put in my brain first. Once I understand that core information, then if I have time, I'll be able to build up and add all the extra things that I need to know about that specific thing. But making sure that when I make my notes, I make my notes of only the high yield information, and making sure that when I take in this information, I'm taking in only things that are very, very important, and then allowing my brain to process that and make it long-term memory before I just read everything. Because when you just study everything without actually sort of organizing your information properly, it's very easy for you to just somehow forget the important information because you've been just going through a lot of work. So for some people, summarizing information can be in mind maps, flow diagrams. Some people, I don't know, they make their own mnemonics or whatnot. So do things that help you remember pages and pages of information in a far less pages, in a way that helps you compartmentalize the information properly and helps you take in the high yield information. And this has been so helpful for me when it comes to my final exams or end of year exams, where I'll have a lot of exams in 1 week, and I won't have to go through 50 slides or 100 slides to explain a concept. Whereas if I've made 5 pages explaining 50 slides, I'm able to go through the work much quicker as compared to if I didn't. So making summaries actually does help. Making summaries of high yield information that you're not remembering, information that is very important and is core knowledge of that specific topic, has helped me. So you should definitely look into doing that. I beg you, please. Do not rewrite your textbook. Do not rewrite your lecture slides, because that's just wasting time and you're not taking in the information as much. You're just literally rewriting. You're not analyzing what's important, what's not important. Because when you're analyzing those things, you're actually learning, trying to figure out, why is this important? Why is that not so high yield? That's part of learning. So make notes of only high yield information. Tip number 5, guys, past papers, past papers, past papers, past papers. I cannot emphasize just how important past papers and quizzes are, guys. Like, I always do past papers. I always make sure. I love doing past papers actually, and quizzes. And the reason I love doing them is because, number one, I'm able to see what are the sort of topics that the lecturers like focusing on. What are the things that are very important for me to know from a specific topic that I've learned? So if I'm learning something, if there's something that they're always repeating, then I realize that, okay, this is something that's very important for me to understand. I also learn to see what exactly am I required to know from the specific topic. So sometimes you learn things, you learn, but then they come bring out a question and then you don't know how to answer it because you don't know how they're testing you. So if you're able to look at the past papers, you're able to see how they actually want you to study that information, how they want you, what are the things that they want you to pick out from the different topics that you're doing. So do quizzes, do past papers, just to test yourself. And also for me, it helps me because it helps me know what do I know and what do I not know, right? So if I realize that, okay, after doing past papers, I actually understand this topic quite well. I'm actually getting this topic right. Now when I'm studying, I won't focus so much on that topic because I know that I have a good understanding of it. As compared to if I keep getting something wrong in every single past paper, that sort of tells me that, okay, now when you're studying, this is something that you have to focus on because clearly you don't understand it properly. So now it also helps me in my studying and what I make notes on, things that I don't understand, you know? So past papers, quizzes, highly recommend. Sometimes I know that doing past papers might be like anxiety inducing because you feel like, oh my gosh, now you're gonna realize that you don't know as much, or you've been studying for so long but you still can't answer the questions. So sometimes what I do is that I will do past papers with my notes because essentially I'm not trying to punish myself. What I'm trying to do is just gauge whether or not I know the information. And now if I don't know the information, where can I find that information? So I don't beat myself up. If I don't know something, I look it up, because doing past papers should also be a learning process for you. So if you don't know where the answer is, look it up in your lecture slides, find out. You're like, oh, okay, so that I didn't pay attention to that part, so they asked that, make a star on that thing. So do past papers, do it with your lecture slides sometimes, or do it with friends, because sometimes when you're doing it with your friends, it's less anxiety inducing and you guys are there just figuring it out together. And yeah, so I literally love it. So now lastly, in terms of tips and stuff, I would say that it's very important to exchange or share information. And for me, especially given that I'm an audiovisual learner, I love studying with like a friend of mine. We always study together. So we don't necessarily study together, but like we teach each other. So we both study at our own time in our own like rooms and spaces. And then comes a time where we sit down and teach each other the information. So for me, I learn best from hearing, and when somebody or myself, I speak something out, right? Or we explain using diagrams and stuff. So that has been very helpful for me. I'm also able to gauge whether or not I understood something, because when you have to explain something to somebody else, you yourself see whether or not you understand the topic, right? So share the information, share the knowledge. You'll actually be surprised how somebody might explain something much better than a lecturer. So do that. You and your friends will find like nice ways to remember things, mnemonics. You'll find like songs and stuff like that to help you remember the information. So now we're coming to the resources that I use or that I've used throughout my like academic career that have helped me, and I have them written down here, so I'm going to look at them, and we're going to divide the resources into YouTube sites or like videos, websites, textbooks, and apps that have helped me, right? So in terms of YouTube channels that I watch these channels sometimes before I study the concepts or afterwards, just to consolidate the information, right? And now there are osmosis. I hope that you guys have heard of osmosis, because I swear by it. Like, I swear by osmosis. The other one is Armando Hasurigan, I think. I love Armando Hasurigan, explains concepts very well. There's Dirty Medicine. I love it because they have a lot of mnemonics and they teach you ways to remember things. Like they give you like little stories for how you can remember stuff. There's also Memorable Psychiatry and Neurology. I used that for when I was in 4th year doing neurology. I loved it. And then there's also Ninja Nerd Lectures. They're quite long, I must say, very long. But what I love about that guy is that after like the video's finished, you understand that concept properly, like the anatomy, physiology, and like the pharmacology very well. Like it explains very nicely. So they're quite long, I must say, but very good. And then you also have Alia Medical Media, very short videos, quick, explains information very nicely, but it's not as in depth. But like if you want to get like a quick like overview of a topic, that's your channel to go to. And then there's Khan Academy. I don't use Khan Academy as much like now in the older years. Like when I was in like 1st year, 2nd year, yeah, I used to use it quite a bit. But now like going further, I don't use it as much. But I think that's also helpful. So Khan Academy. And then there's MedCram. MedCram, yeah, I use it quite a lot. I think I use it for like the pharmacology and stuff. There's also Speedy Pharmacology and the Study Spot. I use the Study Spot a lot in 3rd year and 4th year of medicine. I used it quite a lot. They explain concepts very well, they draw stuff, so for me that's very nice and I really enjoy it. So those are some of the YouTube channels that I like look up to basically study the information. Do you have any other ones that you use that I have not mentioned? Please mention them below. I would love to find new channels, to find like resources and ways to study and learn quicker. Like literally, please let them like point them in there. Like please, I'm begging you, save a student's life, mine as well, and other people who are watching as well. And then now we're gonna go on to websites. So the first website is WebPath. I'll write it down just here. WebPath. This one is amazing, like literally amazing. I used it a lot in my 3rd year to learn pathology, and so what I love about WebPath is that you basically get like these pictures of the pathology, the explanations, you get quizzes, and the quizzes for us were very much tailored to how they test us at Wits. So I literally love those things. I mean I love that website because I got the visual side of things, I got the explanation, like the annotations at the bottom, I got to be quizzed and see like if I understood the stuff nicely or not. And like the other thing I love is that with the quizzes, they let you know like why something is incorrect and why something is correct. So you're not just doing the quizzes, you're actually learning in the process. So I loved it. Use it to test yourself. If for example you couldn't find past papers on a certain topic, you go on that site for pathology and yeah, you're able to find like questions there and quizzes. The other one is Sketchy Medic. That's a website that I use. Oh my goodness, guys, I love it. Like I literally love Sketchy Medic. Sketchy Medic basically is like they tell you like a story. Like they do like it's so cool, man. It's so cool. Like they tell you a story, and that's how they explain like for example microbiology. It's I don't know, like you guys must check it out. Like it's quite cool. So they'll tell you a story like, oh no, this boy was walking whatever, and they tell you that when you see a red top, the red top signifies penicillin. And they said this boy was walking and then he met another boy. Like no, it's those things where they explain something, like they explain concepts to you in a story form. So now when you're studying, if you're able to remember the story or you're able to remember the picture, you're able to remember the drugs, the bacteria, the whatever. So I absolutely love it because like I watched the video and then afterwards take a screenshot of like this like the picture sort of story that they've drawn for me, and then study that picture, because now when I study that picture I'm able to see like, okay, I saw that boy there, that means that was penicillin which interacted with the, like, you know what I mean, and then that one interacted with that, caused an allergy on that boy. Okay, look at that picture, this boy moved there, meaning that. So it's like very visual. I'm a visual learner, so if there's anything visual that comes my way, I'm literally going for it. I love it. Check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Have you used it before? You can, like, there's literally microbiology, pathology, pharmacology. I'm not sure what else is on there on Sketchy Medic, but I literally love it. So check it out. It's a nice way to learn. Like, it's not so like, oh my gosh, cringe. You know, you learn medicine and all these different things in such a nice and fun way that you can also just retrieve that information nicely, you know. So yeah, that's that one. And then textbooks, I'll have a video. I will have a video, I don't know, yeah, on textbooks that I used when I was in second year. But now going to third year and fourth year, I really didn't use much textbooks. Hey, like I just used the lecture slides that they gave us and all these other resources. I didn't use textbooks. If there was a recommended textbook, I'd go to the library and use it, but I didn't really use textbooks in like third year and fourth year. So yeah, but fifth year is a different ball game altogether, like altogether. Clinical years, different ball game. If you guys want a video on my clinical year experience so far, please let me know down below so that I can see if I can sit down and break it down to you all, cause yeah. And then lastly, we have, okay, not lastly, but like second last, we have apps. So in terms of apps, the one that I used was Brainscape, and then the other one is what is it? I think it's Anki. No, I forgot, but the one that I used the most was Brainscape, and I actually loved it. The times when I'd use like apps like Brainscape and them is when like I don't feel like studying and I'm just so tired. Like, you know what I mean? Like those times it's just like, I don't feel like studying, but I really should be studying. So I just chill on my phone, but like I'm actually studying. So I'd be on the app and basically get like quizzes and like just like flashcards, and then you have to like pick the right answer, and then the answers that you keep getting wrong, they keep bringing them up. So you keep on like having to repeat something that you get wrong, and then if you get something right very often, they don't repeat it. So I loved Brainscape for that reason. I didn't use it that often, but like when I did use it, it was like when I didn't feel like studying, or if I was on the road somewhere and I needed to study, like, you know what I mean, like just making sure that I'm like I slot in studying somewhere, I'd use that app on my phone. And yeah, so that's the app that I used. And then lastly, just Google Drives, guys. I make sure that I, in every single year, try to find a Google Drive somewhere, because there's summaries. Some people have like videos that they put up there to explain stuff very nicely. So studying, it's all about studying smart, guys. It's not about like how long you can study. It's about finding resources to help make the studying easier, to make it fun for you. So look up Google Drives, find other resources. People give tips for how they got through their year. So use those things to help you get through your year. Something that I've noticed in varsity is that you cannot do this alone. Like you cannot do varsity all on your own. You need support, you need like resources, you need to be talking to people, getting the stuff to help you get through this. Again, studying smart, not hard. Don't spend long hours studying if you know that that doesn't work for you. That's another thing. Like, just like in closing, know yourself and know what works for you. Something that works for me might not work for you. Like, for example, for me, I can't study in the AMs. I cannot like at 12 o'clock be studying, 1 o'clock, my brain just doesn't function, right? So if you're the person who knows that you function best at like 12 o'clock in the AMs, study during those times, because those are your times where you study the best, right? So make sure that you're able to study when you're like at your peak, and yeah, stuff like that. So that's it from me. And I could go on and on about studying and studying techniques, guys. Honestly, I love just talking about like different ways that we can study and like figuring it out, because even for me, even right now, I'm still figuring out how to study. I'm still finding different ways that work. Like something might work in the 1 year, then in the next year, because the different requirements doesn't work. So it's an ongoing process. So don't give up on yourself if you're still trying to find something that works for you. If you're still trying to find a method that works for you, don't give up on yourself. Keep looking, keep trying. If it's not working, change it until you're happy with the method that you're using and the results that you're getting. So yeah, as always, let's keep the love going, let's keep the channel growing, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe and like and leave a comment. Bye.